Hi again, everyone, and welcome once again to my channel and another cigar review. Today, I'm really excited about this review actually, because I'm going to be reviewing a cigar that I had smoked only once many years ago. It's a Cuban cigar, and I had liked it. I was always wanting to smoke another one, but I could never find one. So I'm going to share my thoughts with you on the Diplomaticos, and this is the exclusive regional series. So it says Exclusivo Cuba. So it's the exclusive regional edition for Cuba. They have different ones. I think they've got one for a few different countries. I think Switzerland, Caribbean, and whatnot. So this is obviously the Cuban edition. It's from Cuba. So a little bit about this cigar. It's quite a big size. So the ring gauge is a 54 ring gauge, so it's nice and meaty in your hands, and it's 5.5 inches in length. So set aside some time smoking this guy. Obviously, it's a Cuban cigar. It's a Habano, so everything from wrapper, binder, filler, Cuban tobacco. And it also garnered a 96 rating on Cigar Aficionado. So it's a well-regarded cigar. It's a nice looking cigar. Diplomaticos, just a bit of a different kind of cigar band. And it's got a double band on this one. It's a nice looking cigar, almost like a caramel type color. It looks fairly well constructed too. So let's cut this guy and see what we're going to get on the pre-lit aromas. All right, a good cut there. So let's start with the foot of the cigar. Okay, so it's muted. I'm getting sort of wood, cedar, maybe some nuts, hay, sort of the classic sort of Cuban cigar aromas. So let's go ahead with the cold draw, see what we're getting there. So the cold draw is different. The wood is there, some kind of maybe nuts, almond, and there's some kind of, I want to say like an anise kind of flavor there. So very different from the smelling the foot of the cigar. So let's light this guy and see what it smokes like. All right, so off the bat, as you can see, great smoke output on this cigar. The resistance is virtually perfect. There's not too much resistance in the draw, and it's not too open either. Just the way I like it. It's got a very smoky kind of flavor, almost like a smoky sort of wood fire kind of flavor, which is a bit different than many Cuban cigars that I've smoked. There's some pepper, but it's definitely creamy as well. There's woods, nuts like an almond, like a roasted almond. There's some earth in there as well. So it's quite tasty. Now, I will say it's got a bit of an edge to it. And what I mean by edge is It's smooth, but not as smooth as it can be. So this cigar, and I've had this before, so I kind of have a point of reference for it, I think would benefit probably from resting in a humidor for a few months, like 3 to 6 months. This has been in my humidor for about a month and a half right now. Now, the body of the cigar, I'd say, is in the medium range. So it's not a mild cigar, but I'd say it's medium, maybe sort of medium plus, but right now, not more than that. And in terms of the strength of the cigar, however, it's more in the mild to medium range, so like a medium minus. So it's definitely got more body than it's got sort of strength, like tobacco strength. And that's why I wanted to nuance what I was saying about the edge of the cigar. It's not about the strength of the nicotine. The edge is more sort of the flavors, they could be smoothed out a little bit. So I'm going to continue smoking this guy, and I'm going to check back with you once I'm into the second third of this Diplomaticos Exclusivo series, the Cuban Regional Edition. All right, so I'm back with the Diplomaticos Exclusiva of Cuba into the second third. Very enjoyable smoke. I will say one thing, it's starting to canoe, which I don't like. The one I had a few weeks ago, about a month ago, didn't do that. So I don't know if that's something to look for the majority of the cigars that I have. But the flavors are quite good heading into the second third of this cigar. So I would say in terms of the transition, because there's been transition in flavors, it's been a subtle kind of transition. So all those flavors in the first third are still in the second third of the cigar, but there's been some slow transitions. So it's still smoky. I would say it's a bit more, it's definitely smoother than the first third, or the first few puffs, the beginning of the first third. The pepper is there. It's a bit more earthy for sure. And I'd say it's more of a woodsy kind of finish. Still has that great smoke output. I'd say another flavor that's developed, there's these sort of chocolatey notes, chocolate nuts, honey, or even coffee. So these are new notes that weren't quite there in the beginning of the cigar, but it's developed into the flavor profile of the cigar. And in terms of transition, there's the flavors, but also in terms of the strength, the body of the cigar, I'd say that the strength has developed. It was more in the mild to medium range in the beginning. It's more in the medium range definitely now. Body still similar in the medium range, almost sort of medium plus to my palate. So there's some transition there too, not just in the flavors, but the more the strength and the body of the cigar heading into the second third of the cigar. And I'm about over 45 minutes now into the cigar. So this is going to be it's going to be over an hour of smoking time for sure, probably closer to 90 minutes, but we'll see once I'm into the final third of the cigar. I'm going to continue smoking this guy. I'm going to have to correct this guy because this canoeing, you got to correct that. But it's still very enjoyable. So I'm going to check back with you once I'm in the final third of this quite tasty Diplomaticos Exclusiva of Cuba. So I'm back with the final third of the Diplomaticos Exclusiva of Cuba. So heading into the final third, a bit of a canoeing happening again, which I don't like. So like I said before, I don't know if this is just this cigar or there's more of these issues. I don't think so, because I've had one. I think my brother has had one, and I haven't had that issue before. So it just might be this one that has some construction issues, but it hasn't taken away from the experience smoking the cigar and the flavors. So as you can see, great smoke output continues throughout the cigar. I've been smoking this cigar for about an hour and 15 minutes, maybe an hour and 20 minutes ish. And it's still got a good 10 minutes to go. So final third of the cigar, seeing more transition. It's still a subtle sort of transition. I'd say in terms of both the body and the strength of the cigar has increased. So in terms of the body, it's a medium plus for sure. The strength is also a good medium plus at this point. Flavor-wise, it's similar, maybe not as creamy as that middle part of the cigar. Still smoky, still has, a bit of that woodsiness, the earth flavors, but there's been some transition for sure into the final third. Yeah, I'd say the biggest transition probably, I mentioned those chocolate notes. They're there. I think it's more of a chocolate kind of coffee cocoa type flavors. The earthiness is more in the foreground for sure, the final third. Nuts, almost almond, roasted almond. It's almost taken a bit more prominence into the final third. And it does have a bit of a honey type flavor, I think. Like a dark amber honey type flavor. And another thing I would say about this cigar is that it doesn't burn hot. So you don't get that, some cigars towards the end, it burns really hot and it creates these bitter flavors. This one smokes pretty cool, even though it's canoeing. It does smoke cool, which makes it more enjoyable for sure. So it's really enjoyable cigar. Final thoughts on this cigar. It's enjoyable. What I'm going to say about this cigar is that I think it's versatile. Why do I say it's versatile? It's because of the transition and the strength of the cigar. In the beginning, it's more in the mild to medium. Towards the end, it's more of a medium plus, like medium to full, which means you could have it as in terms of an after breakfast morning cup of coffee type smoke. I'm actually having it with a cup of coffee right now, and it's very, very enjoyable in that way. But I could also see having this cigar after dinner, which I've had the first time I had it, or the first one that I had. It was after dinner and it was enjoyable. So it's got versatility, which is, I think, a strength of this cigar. The other thing I would say is that it does have some edge to it, like some rough edges. And through my experience of cigars, this one would benefit in terms of resting in a humidor for a few months. So I'd be interested to see, maybe next year, because I still have about 18 of them, what the flavors are going to be like, what the cigar is going to be like. Something tells me that it's going to be smoother, it's going to be even more enjoyable. So do I recommend this cigar? Yes, I'd recommend this cigar. It's a really good cigar. I don't think it's my favorite Cuban cigar. I don't even know if it's in my top 5 favorite Cuban cigars, but it's a good cigar. I really enjoyed it. Is it box worthy? If you could find some, yes, definitely. Diplomaticos, like I said earlier in the review or in the video, I've been coveting this cigar, getting some Diplomaticos in my humidor, and now I do have it, and I'm really pleased about it. So that's it for the review. And by the way, good smoke time as well, hour and 50 minutes at least. This will go an hour and a half. So set aside some time to smoke this cigar, and I think you will enjoy it. As usual, leave me your comments, like my videos, subscribe to my channel. It's much appreciated. And I will see you next time. And until then, cheers.